Good afternoon, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and today, guys, we're here with Savage Saturday, episode 171, and we're doing just an old school story review. Today is going to be a story that's very well known. I've gone over in the past the Marvel version, which is my favorite adaptation of this Robert E. Howard tale, but today we're going to go over the Dark Horse Comics one, and I believe I even went over the Ablaze one, which was an atrocity, but the Marvel one is my favorite. The Dark Horse is my second favorite. Also a very well done adaptation. And we're talking about the story of the Frost Giant's daughter. Alright, with Atali. So again, this is Conan issue number 1, the Frazetta cover series. Again, just the classic Frazetta painting there. Do love the Barry Windsor Smith version of this on Conan the Barbarian, issue number 16. Just a great original run adaptation by Roy Thomas and Barry Windsor Smith. This adaptation is also great, and this is written by Kurt Busiek and art by Kerry Nord and colors by Dave Stewart. And we're just going to get right into it. We're going to enjoy this little tale, and you're going to see why this is also a great adaptation of a Robert E. Howard classic story. Because at this story's heart is Conan's iron will to survive, and it's showcased here, and it's fun, it's fast-paced, and it's just exhilarating. And we're going to get right into it as usual. You know, I'll have pictures over here as I read the story to you. So our scene opens up on a bloody snow battlefield. All right, there's snow everywhere. We're in the north. There's blood in the snow. It's just brutal. And it says, "The clangor of swords died away. The shouting of the slaughter was hushed. Silence reigned over the red-stained snow." Silence, but for, "Man, tell me your name." So, we're getting right into it, just like the story does. And again, another great adaptation. And then you see Conan squared off. And it says, the man speaking of Conan continues, "Tell me your name so that my brothers in Vanaheim may know who was the last of Wulfhere's band to fall before the sword of Heimdall." And Conan goes, "Vanaheim? Not in Vanaheim, but in Valhalla, will you tell your brothers that you met Conan of Samaria." You can see the intensity in Conan's eyes. Great job by Kerry Nord there. And then you see the other guy just lunge at Conan, sword drawn, swinging at him, screaming. And Conan meets him. Their sword and axe swords clash, and he goes, "Ha, that Southern is how Vanaheim dispatch." And all of a sudden, he's at a loss for words. The panel pulls out. We see Conan's sword through the chainmail and breast of the warrior. And it says, "And the red-haired warrior died at Conan's feet." So the guy was all bravado, obviously a good warrior, the second one left to survive, but met his match when he went against Conan the Barbarian, Conan of Samaria. So, and you can see the intensity in Conan's eyes there before the battles met. Great action depicted by Kerry Nord. And as we turn the page, you see Conan standing over the body. The exhilaration of battle is wearing off. He's starting to feel tired. It says, "He raised himself upright then, his muscles sore, his armor and skin torn in a dozen places. He turned, and a sudden sick weariness assailed him." And you just see the wide shot in Conan say, "Crom." A weary Crom. And just a great panoramic view of Conan's surroundings. I really enjoy panels like this where they just draw out and they just give you a view around the warrior or around the character that you're reading. Just well done. As our story continues, see Conan trying to shield himself from the harsh winter conditions. And it says, "He turned away from the trampled, scarlet-painted expanse, and the glare of the sun cut his eyes like a knife. A few steps he took, and you see, like, even though it's winter, you kind of see the sweat on him, and the glare was suddenly dimmed as Conan passes out, goes face first into the snow, and then he kind of is getting back up. He says, my eyes. And then he hears some laughter. He's like, what? And you can see the dreary eyes. He goes, his sight cleared slowly, but there was a strangeness he could not place or define, an unfamiliarity to earth and sky. Strange though it was, however, and more laughter, he did not think of it long, as he beholds a sight to see. And this would be Conan's first meeting with Atali here, setting eyes upon her, not knowing who she is. So great, again, just a great introduction, a great intro panel, great spread. And then Conan is looking up at her and wonders, says, so who are you? Whence come you? And she says, what matter? And the descriptive text says, her laughter was sweeter than the rippling of fountains, her voice musical, but both were edged with cruel mockery. And Conan is still crouched. He puts his hand on his sword to draw. He says, then call up your men, and though my strength fail me, they shall not take me alive. For I see you are of the veneer, Anne. She goes, have I said so? The scripted text says, his gaze went again to her unruly looks, which at first glance he had thought to be red, but now the sun struck it so dazzlingly he could scarcely bear to look upon it. It was elfin gold, a glorious compound of red and yellow, and her eyes, neither wholly blue nor gray, but dancing lights in shifting clouds of colors. Her full red lips, her ivory body, as perfect as the dream of a god. His pulse hammered in his temples. And he says, I cannot tell whether you are of Vanaheim and my enemy, or of Asgard and my friend. Far have I wandered, but a woman like you I have never seen, not even among the fairest daughters of the Aesir. By Ymir, and then she interrupts. She goes, and who are you to swear by Ymir? What know you of the gods of ice and snow, you who have come up from the south to adventure among an alien people? And then this enrages Conan, and he starts screaming, by the dark gods of my own race, then. He goes, though I am not of the Aesir, none has been more forward in swordplay. This day I have seen 80 men fall, and I alone have survived the field where Wolfhair's reavers met the wolves of Bragi. So Conan's getting his ire up. He does not like to be challenged, and he doesn't like the impetuousness of this woman. So again, fantastic art. As our tale continues, Conan is appealing to her. He goes, tell me, woman, have you seen the flash of mail out across the snow plains, or seen armed men moving upon the ice? She goes, I have seen the hoarfrost glittering in the sun. I have heard the wind whispering across the everlasting snows. And Conan says, Nord should have caught up with us before the battle was joined. I fear he and his fighting men have been ambushed. He goes, I had thought there was no village within leagues of this spot, but you cannot have come a great distance, naked as you are. Lead me to your tribe if you are of Asgard. And then she says, my village is further than you can walk, Conan of Samaria. But tell me, O man, am I not beautiful? And she displays herself for Conan to see. He says, you are like dawn running naked on the snows. She goes, then why do you not rise? Follow me. Who is the strong warrior who falls down before me? And she goes, lay down and die in the snow with the other fools, Conan of the black hair. You cannot follow where I would lead. And she kind of knows how to edge him, how to get his ire up. He says, Crom, woman, you. And it says, rage shook Conan to Conan's soul, but desire drove his wild blood hotly through his veins. Passion, fierce as agony, flooded his being. Earth and sky swam red to his gaze. Madness swept upon him and took both weariness and faintness away. And you see Conan lunge for her, and she's laughing and running away. She's like, clumsy lummox. Okay, we'll show you that. Now, what's cool too is great job with the lettering in this book. I like that her lettering is a different color, a little bit different. It just stands out, and it gives her more of an otherworldly feel. So great job with the lettering as well. We're going to go through to the next page. And she's still calling back to Conan, mocking him. And she says, clumsy lummox, is that the best you can do? And with a low growl, Conan followed. He forgot the fight, the mailed warriors who lay in their blood, Njord and his reavers who failed to reach the fray. He thought only for the slender white shape before him. Morgan, Macha, and Nemain, you cannot escape me, woman. Lead me into a trap, and I'll pile the heads of your kinsmen at your feet. And she's still laughing and dancing away, and they're doing a great job, Carrie Njord, of showing how light she is on her feet on the snow. And he says, hide from me, and I'll tear the mountains apart to find you. I'll follow you to hell. And then we see a great expanse, and we see the lead she has on Conan, and it says, and out across the plain, the chase led. In spite of the fire in his veins, the cold bit through Conan's mail and tunic, but still he ran with the silent tenacity of his race. The girl in her veil ran as lightly and as gaily as if she danced through the palm and rose gardens of the Poiton, and still he ran. The land changed, giving way to hills and mountains, and still he ran. Above him, the skies glowed and crackled, the snow shone, now frosty blue, now icy crimson, now cold silver, and still he ran. He did not wonder at the strangeness of it all, just plunged doggedly onward, his only reality, the white body dancing before him, beyond his reach, ever beyond his. We trail off. Again, some establishing shots of distance, some great stuff. And you really get the sense of a chase here. Really well done by Carrie Njord. Great storytelling through his art. Just following along with the text. And both of them complementing each other. Great stuff. So we'll get back to this. It says, beyond his reach, ever beyond his. And as he turns the corner, he comes face to face with the frost giants. He says, what? And she throws her arms up in the air, her wild hair rushing around. And she says, brothers, I have brought you a man to slay. Take his heart, that we may lay it smoking on our father's board. And Conan has his sword drawn. He says, I told you, girl, lead me into a trap. And he ducks. A long reach, thing of the waist. Too long, as one of the frost giants swings at him. And Conan fells him by cutting through his leg and thigh. And one frost giant's down, bleeding. His leg no more good. The next one raises his axe to slay Conan. And we'll give you a quick panel here. Show you the fight is fully engaged. Although Conan was surprised at the ambush, he is ready to fight. His blood rage is up. He is ready to go. And as we turn the page, the other brother has his axe raised and swings down. Conan ducks the giant axe, and he says, now, no monstrosity. You freed your weapon, but too late. And Conan jumps forward after climbing a little rocky cliff and says, far too late. And he drives his blade into the frost giant's neck. And he stumbles and falls dying. And Conan is on top of the other one. He says, and now, girl. She goes, you can't. He goes, you want hearts? Which? Call the rest of your brothers. I'll give their hearts to the wolves. And she's like, no. And she takes off running for the first time, scared of what Conan is and what he can do. And the descriptive text says, she laughed no more, nor mocked him over her shoulder. She just ran, as for her life. And though she drew away from him, he ground his teeth till the blood started from his gums and pounded on. So we can see there's finally fear in the frost giant's daughter's gaze, Atali, and she is running for her life now, away from Conan. For the trap she set for him did not work. Her brothers perished at Conan's blade, the first man to fell them. And as we turn the page, Conan is within reach of her, and the descriptive text continues on, and it says, the grim endurance of the barbarian served him well. The speed ebbed from her legs. She reeled in her gait, and in his untamed soul, the fires of hell she had fanned to blazing life leaped up. And he has a hold of her. She's like, no. And he crushes her in his embrace and says, you're as cold as the snows, girl, but I'll warm you. Warm you with the fire of my own blood. And she pulls away from him. He's like, hey. And he's got a hold of the gossamer thread that she had around her waist. She's like, no. And he says, no, girl, you'll not. And she goes, Emir, oh, my father, save me. As she throws her hands in the air. And this great light comes down and blasts them both. And then she is gone. And Conan's like, well, where? As he's looking up to see where she disappeared to. It says, the snow lay empty and bare. The witch lights flashed and played high above. And in his ears sounded the rolling thunder of a gigantic war chariot, rushing through the rocky walls and fading into the sky. And then the heavens reeled drunkenly, and the hills heaved up like a wave. And you see Conan collapse. So, just as Conan had her in her grasp, she called out for her frost giant god, Emir, her father, who saved her. So, just awesome. As we turn the page, we have a black panel that says, "Coming to, Horsa." And then we're starting to see shades of people's helmets, and it says, "Haste, we must rub the frost out of his limbs if he's ever to wield his sword again." And another warrior saying, "He won't open his left hand. He's clutching something." And Conan's coming to, he says, "Njord?" And Njord says, "Conan, by Emir you live." He goes, "Crom, am I alive, or are we all dead and in Valhalla?" And Njord says, "We live. We had to fight our way through an ambush. The corpses were scarce cold when we came upon the field. We did not find you among the dead, so we followed your tracks. And Emir's name, Conan, why did you wander off into the waste of the north? Had a blizzard come up?" And one of the other ones says, "Swear not so often by Emir. This is his land, and the God bides among yonder mountains, the legends say." And as Conan rises, he says, I saw a woman." He says, "We met Bragi's men in the plains. I alone lived, dizzy and faint. The land lay like a dream before me. Only now do all things seem natural and familiar. The woman came and taunted me, beautiful as a frozen flame from hell. Did you not find her tracks or the giants I slew?" And Njord says, "We found only your tracks in the snow, Conan." And then Conan says, "Then it may be that I am mad. You yourself are no more real to me than was the golden-locked witch who fled naked across the snows before me. Yet from under my very hands she vanished in icy flame." And one of the other guys says, "He is delirious." And to which another man bursts forth and says, "Not so. It was Atali, daughter of Emir, the frost giant. To fields of the dead she comes. And shows herself to the dying." So here we go as our story is reaching its conclusion. And as we turn the page, it says, "When a boy, I saw her myself. When I lay half slain, my skull cracked on the bloody field of Wolfraven. I saw her walk among the dead, her body gleaming like ivory, her hair unbelievably bright in the moonlight. I lay and howled like a dying dog because I could not crawl after her. She lures men into the wastelands to be slain by her brothers, the ice giants, while their hearts served hot at Emir's table. The Cimmerian has seen Atali, the frost giant's daughter." To which one of the other men says, "Bah, old Gorm's mind has been touched since that wound at Wolfraven. Conan was delirious from the battle. Look how his helmet is dented. The blow addled his mind. It was a brain fever he followed into the waste." And Conan says, "You speak truth, perhaps. It was all very strange, and by Crom," as he looks down at his hand and he holds it up, and he's still clutching the gossamer thread of the frost giant's daughter, Atali. So proof is in Conan's hand that the story that just happened to him is 100% true. He fought this battle, he persevered, he won, and he is joined by his comrades once again. All right, and then we have a little Robert E. Howard thing, which I'll put up here, a little biography. And we also have one on Frank Frazetta, which I will also share here. You'll be able to pause it and read it if you so like. Now, again, I love this story. It's Conan's iron will to survive. And all the things that get Conan in trouble, right? Just how stubborn he is, following a woman when he should just be worrying about getting himself to safety. So one of the things that gets him in trouble, right? Women, drink, gambling, just a classic Conan tale, a classic Robert E. Howard story, another brilliant adaptation. And I think this adaptation is way at the top. The only one that beats it is the Roy Thomas, Barry Windsor Smith one. These two are neck and neck, though. Both great adaptations. I do prefer the Barry Windsor Smith, Roy Thomas one, but this one is up there as well. The pacing is great. Kurt Busiek does a great job adapting it, and Carrie Nord's art carries the story along brilliantly and wonderfully, and it just all flows together. And the lettering in this is exceptional too. The lettering between her and Conan, the way it's different, the way it's colored different, the way it gives her an otherworldly feel, and it kind of helps you see her the way Conan sees her. Overall, this is an A+ tale all around, and a great job by Dark Horse with this adaptation. Hopefully you guys out there enjoyed this episode. Thank you all so much for any of you watching, and until next time, keep it casual.